I'm Linda Elsegood, founder of the LDN Research Trust. It has been my honour to interview LDN researchers, prescribers, pharmacists and patients from around the world for many conditions. Thank you for joining us. This evening I'm joined by Gudrun from Iceland, who takes LDN for fibromyalgia. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Could you tell us how old you were when you first noticed that there was something wrong with you?
I was 43, so that was 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened rather suddenly. I had always had, insomnia and back pain, but all of a sudden I started waking up very tired and achy, and I even had to go home from work at lunchtime sometimes because I was so tired, and so it happened, pretty suddenly.
Before you found LDN, could you describe what a typical day was like for you?
A typical day was waking up achy and tired and having to make a huge effort just to get out of bed. And when I got to work, I would drink a few cups of coffee just to get myself going. And on a good day, I would, barely be able to finish a full day of work. But on bad days, I would sometimes have to go home early. Or, and most days I would be taking painkillers, in the afternoon just to try to get through the day. So, and in the evenings, I would, basically come home and just crash on the sofa or go to bed and just rest until the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my life for quite a long time.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
And what about brain fog? You said that you were still able to work.
Yeah, well, my brain fog was pretty bad too at times. So that was also made it difficult.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Okay. And if at that time you had to rate your quality of life on a score of 1 to 10, what would it have been?
I would say 3 or 4 at the most. It varied a bit. It wasn't always that bad, but, there were better days and there were worse days. But most days I would say 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. So how did you hear about LDN?
I think I read about it on the internet first. I remember reading about that study at Stanford many years ago and thinking that, that would be probably difficult to get over here. But then I found an online group, Icelandic group, that about LDN. And it was there that I got all the information that I needed to know how to go about getting it, because we had to get it all the way from Glasgow at that time. You couldn't even get it here, so it was a complicated process to get it. But lucky for me, some other people had found out how to go about it, and I was able to read about that. So,
wonderful. Yeah. So how long have you been on LDN now?
Since the 4th of July, 2012. And I remember the date because it was such a huge change for me.
Oh,
so
over 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years.
So when you first started, did you have any side effects?
The only thing I can remember is it was more difficult to fall asleep. But that's all I can remember. I didn't write it down or anything, but that's what I remember from that time.
Okay.
But after a few weeks, that stopped. So I haven't had a lot.
And what would you say was the first symptoms to ease for you?
The brain fog. It was just the next day. It was gone. So that was a huge change.
Wow.
Just overnight.
Quickly.
Yeah, but it took the pain and fatigue a few weeks, but still it went pretty quickly. I hear about people, saying that it took months for them, but for me it was only a few weeks before I felt much, much better.
So 4 years on from there, what is a typical day like for you now?
A typical day, I wake up feeling, pretty well. I go to work and, I'm often tired, by the end of the day, but I'm not in that much pain. I hardly ever take any painkillers. And if I want to go out in the evening, I can usually do that. Before, that was pretty rare because I would usually be too tired. So I'm not maybe 100% like I used to be, but, maybe 70, 80%.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do most things.
And what would you rate your quality of life now on that score of 1 to 10?
Well, 7 or 8 maybe. Yeah, so a lot better.
Made a big difference to you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What would you say to other people with fibromyalgia who are thinking of trying LDN?
I would say to definitely try it because it doesn't work for everybody, but I think, about 2/3 of people have at least some help from it. So, and don't give up because many doctors don't want to prescribe it. That's a problem here as well. So just keep asking until you get it. Because if it does work for you, it will make a huge difference.
Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. It's amazing to have such a good reaction so quickly.
Yeah, I was very lucky in that.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
Do you have LDN experience to share? If so, please email me, linda@ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you.